All right, my Taurus friends, how are you today? Aaron here bringing you your monthly horoscope for October 2020. We have a jam-packed astrological month. We have one of the most life-changing months ahead of us. I mean that. Life-changing months ahead of us, okay? I'm going to get into all of it in a minute. I'm going to talk about a lot today. I'm going to try to keep this as condensed as possible. And there's a couple things I'm going to leave out just because, we'll pick it up in the dailies. The sun squares to Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto. We'll talk about those in the dailies. The Mars square to Pluto and Jupiter. We'll talk about those in the dailies. But they are happening this month. Okay, there's a lot of building self up and making sure that we are staying strong, that we are staying on top of our game. All right. One of the first things that came through about the month of October, and especially when we have a Mars retrograde going on, we're going to have Mercury retrograde beginning on the 13th. Okay, Venus is going to change 2 signs this month. All right, Pluto is going to go direct this month. Okay, so there's a lot of energy that's shifting and changing. Okay, but nothing is happening fast. All right, so this little message that came through is nothing is happening fast. Yet nothing is happening slow. So all is well. And as long as I stay in my lane and surrender to the flow. All right, so we must stay in our lanes, focused on what we need to focus on, allow the river to just be the river, allow the wind to be the wind. Okay, we're not trying to force anything, to push anything, to put the carriage before the horse, which is the epitome of retrogrades. We don't want to put the carriage before the horse here. Okay, and sometimes doing nothing is doing something. And we're going to be doing a lot of shadow work this month. Okay, a lot of shadow work. And we're going to get into it right now. Let me show you your chart here. All right, so to start off with, on the 1st, okay, we're going to have a nice full moon here in the sign of Aries, which is your 12th house. All right, and this is going to be conjunct Chiron, about healing and releasing. All right, so we have this full illumination here, partnership, Libra, but this is in your 6th house. Excuse me, this is your 6th house. So this is about your work and their services, okay? Making sure that you are available for other people, making sure that you are offering services to others, and make sure that you are playing your role, okay, in your acts of service to others. And then you're illuminating this 12th house about clearing. Okay, the 12th house is endings and completions and karma. Okay, and of course we've got Chiron here that's going to conjunct this new moon, or this full moon. Okay, so Chiron conjunct moon, that's a beautiful aspect that we talk about every single month. This is about emotional healing and emotional release. And of course these two are creating this septile here, that purple line to the south node. Okay, this is about release. Okay, letting go of something, letting go of a collective thought, letting go of the ideas, letting go of trying to fit in. We must seek our own path and go our own way here. North node in Gemini. Okay, so the sun fully illuminating, this is my services, these are the things that I must do. All right, and I must do these things because karmically I'm feeling called to do them. And sometimes when we do things, it's like, you want to put some positivity out in the world, or you want to, on social media, or you want to do a good deed. And sometimes the good deeds aren't recognized, or they are, but they're not reciprocated or communicated back in a way that makes you feel that what you've done is helpful and useful, and it makes you feel good to say, I want to do this again. We've all been there. We've all done it, where it's just like you do something and you're like, oh, I feel so happy I did this for, my friend or significant other or coworkers or boss or whatever. And they're like, oh, cool, just put it on the desk. And you're like, that's the last time I'm bringing coffee and donuts to work, you ungrateful, you know what I mean? And this is like, no. We brought the coffee and donuts not for the pat on the back and the attaboys and the attagirls, but we did it because it made us feel good. Because it made us feel good when somebody else did it. And it's like, you know what? I want, today's my turn. I want to do this. This is my treat. And it's just like, it doesn't matter if it was appreciated or unappreciated. It's about us being there and doing what we do because we love doing it. Okay? So this is shining a little bit of a light and saying, like, it doesn't matter if it's been appreciated or underappreciated. Somebody sees what you did, and they might not say it. They might not show it. They might not express it the way that we would like. Okay? So this is bringing an ending to some of that thought pattern. Okay, emotionally releasing this, saying it's okay. I'm doing this because I love to do it. And I love to do it because I love showing up for other people. This is the power of the sixth house, the Libra in the sixth house for you. Okay, let's go. There's so much going on. On the 2nd, now Venus is going to enter your sister Earth sign of Virgo. Okay, you're going to get a nice trine going on over here between Uranus and Venus. Venus showing up here in your 5th house. Now, the 5th house is, this Leo energy. Okay, 5th house is about our creative self-expression. And this is about bringing value to who you are and what you bring and offer to the table. Okay, so this is you making sure that you value yourself. And even if nobody else recognized or ate those donuts or drank that coffee, whatever it may be, this is saying, look, I'm glad I did that because that's what I wanted to do. Again, bringing value back to self, not being afraid to speak up, not being afraid, but even potentially to ruffle some feathers. Okay, which is a Taurus. Taurus generally doesn't want to do that. They want things to be even keeled. Okay, well, this is like, hey, I've got to shine. I've got to express myself. I'm not going to overshine to where I'm going to put you in the shadows, but at the same time, I have to express my emotions. Venus is dealing with emotions, and that of which we love, desire, and what we value. And we have to value our own creative expression. Okay, so we get 25 days here of Venus in your 5th house before it enters the sign of Libra. All right, now at the same time, I'll talk about it a little bit more extensively, but Mercury is going to retrograde on the 13th and come back into the sign of Libra. So on the exact same time, the same day, well, not the exact same time, but on the same day, we got Venus and Mercury both entering your 6th house here of work and service. At the same time, the Sun at the 22nd is going to move up here into your 7th house of partnerships. I'm going to slow down and talk about all this. All right. So before we get to that, there's some magic happening, okay? And I wish I could show you this properly. You follow along with the dailies and you're going to see these things light up, okay? On the 8th of October, Saturn, for the final time, 3rd and final time, is going to create a septile to Neptune. Neptune creating that septile to Uranus until the 25th, one of those 2 days, of the month, okay? So for over 20 days, we're getting Uranus-Neptune septile. That septile is fate. It is destiny. It is the universe helping us out. It is saying your dreams, your creativity, this is all obtainable and reachable. This is in your 11th house of social community, and you bringing that spiritualness to the community. Okay, your first house here, Uranus is saying break through, break free. Maybe you've been too tongue-in-cheek about certain things, about your own spiritual enlightenment. Well, you've got Venus here entering your 5th house is saying, look, it's time for you to shine. It's time for you to glow, friend. Okay, so it's just like all this breakthrough energy, all this breakthrough stuff that's been happening here in your 1st house, connecting here with Neptune about dreams. This is breakthroughs and revelations and eureka moments, ahas, and yay, all these amazing things and breaking up of tradition. And I've been doing this my whole life. And if I get a headache, I take an aspirin and then this and this and this, and this is like, wow, I can absolutely let all this stuff go. And then we have Neptune, ruling planet of Pisces, and Saturn creating that same septile, okay? And this is about creation, the creation process, okay? Manifesting our life, manifesting our dreams. And this is we're not going to, that energy between Saturn and Neptune is going to be until November 23rd. November 23rd. And then it will disappear for hundreds of years. We will not see this. Your grandkids will not see a Saturn in Capricorn, Neptune in Pisces septile. This is for you. This is for me. This is for us right now, living in this moment. Okay? And when we can look and we can say, this world is messed up. We can say the whole world is falling apart. And this is like, okay, the Jenga game has fallen. And now it's time to rebuild it. Okay, so we're rebuilding it with our specifications. This is like a musician. You know, we can love the music of our predecessors. We might not ever be as good as our predecessors. Well, we might be better. Who knows? Okay, but it's like we take the beauty of their songs, and then we can say, okay, but I want to do it. I don't want to play this music, and I want to do it this way. I want to do it my way. I want to, I'm going to put the climax here in the song, or I'm going to put this bridge here, or whatever it is. It's the creation process. The power of creation is so important this month, okay? And extremely important that we have Mars and Mercury both retrograde. Okay, Mercury again is going to retrograde on the 13th, which is our mind, our mental, and our communication, and it's going to be in the sign of Scorpio. Okay, which both of these signs, Aries and Mars, or Aries and Scorpio, are ruled by Mars. Mars is sleeping, so the only planet that still has power over this is Pluto, the Lord of Transformation. The King of the Underworld, whatever. So it's just like when we surrender our mind, when we surrender the actions that we want to do, when we want to put a square peg in the round hole because we need to do it and we need to finish it now. When we surrender this stuff and allow Pluto to take over this transformation, it's like, who knows how great life can be? Who knows how high we can, how high can this ladder go? How wonderful can things turn around for us when we truly surrender? And when we take a look at our own shadows, when we take a look at our own ego, okay, Mars and Aries, Mercury and Scorpio, we've got to be willing to look at the shadow this month, okay? So very, 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 very powerful. I cannot express how deep this stuff is, and especially when we surrender the thoughts, surrender those feelings of wanting it now. All right, we can go back to it here. Lots more going on. So that's the 13th. Mercury is going to retrograde. It's going to begin its retrograde cycle. All right, on the 22nd, the sun here is going to enter the sign of Scorpio. So we're going to have Mercury and Scorpio both in your 7th house. Okay, so this is also dealing with shadow work of partnerships. This can be exes, this can be lovers, this can be kids, this can be your boss, this can be your partner at work, this can be anything. Okay, we're shining the light here on the shadows of our relationships, okay? And where we have done wrong to others, where we have been hypocritical, where somebody hurt us in a certain way and we turned around and did the exact same thing, but we tried to justify it to make it look differently, okay? So the sun coming here on the 22nd is going to highlight that. And then on the 25th, we're going to have this Mercury and sun here at 2 degrees, okay? At 2 degrees of Scorpio, and this is healing the wounds of the shadow, okay? Because what the shadow stuff is the stuff that we don't want to look at. There's a reason we don't shine the light on the shadow stuff all the time. It's painful, it's dark, it's scary, it's the unknown, all right? So when we have Mercury here, in its resting mode, this is when everything kind of goes haywire with electronics, or we miss flights, or there's delays in schedules and things like that. Mars is already retrograde. It's like nothing's happening fast. And we got the sun here, both at 2 degrees. They're going to be forming a septile to the south node. When we sit with ourselves, when we don't try to rush something, when we just allow the river to be the river, when we allow the wind to blow and just simply be, when we just allow ourselves to be, okay? This is the magic, because there's this great release that happens with the south node septile to the Sun-Mercury conjunction, and the Sun-Mercury conjunction will septile to Chiron. Okay, Chiron's about healing, and this is healing where? This is in your 12th house, again, of completion, karmic endings, new beginnings. Okay, this is a extremely powerful month for you, my Taurus friends, and it gets even better. It gets even better. Okay, so on the 27th, we talked about Mercury is going to get out of Virgo and enter your 6th house. Okay, on the 27th as well, Mercury is going to leave Scorpio and enter your 6th house. Okay, so you have Mercury and Venus, the planet of love, wants, and desires, and value. And Mercury, our mental awareness, our intuition, our insight, our communication, the speedy little planet of technology. Both of these coming in here to the 6th house of Libra about balance. Balancing our minds, balancing our emotions, balancing what we value, balancing how we communicate to the opposite sex, balancing how we communicate to the same sex, balancing our relationships. Okay? Very, very potent. Powerful recipe to change our lives. Okay? But we must be willing to surrender. Okay? We must be willing to change things about ourselves. It's imperative. All right? Then finally on the 31st, you're going to have a full moon in your sign. Did I skip over something? I skipped over the new moon. There's a Libra new moon on the 16th. I'm so sorry. Libra new moon on the 16th. I don't want to skip that. All right? Because this is also in your 6th house. And we'll get to that full moon in a second. So this new moon, new beginning in your 6th house here is also very powerful because it is going to start creating those squares over there to Jupiter. Okay? It's going to start to square that hard discipline stuff of Capricorn. Okay, and Capricorn is the cardinal work ethic sign. Okay, and Libra is all about balance. But for you, this is your 6th house, which is about work. So it's about you bringing balance into your work, bringing balance into your services. Okay, not only can we not pour from a empty cup, we can't pour from a broken cup. Okay, because every time we try to fill it back up ourselves with water or with love or that sweet, nourishing energy that we want to pour and give out to other people, if there's cracks in our cup, it's just going to keep emptying and we have nothing to pour from, but yet we're wanting to pour and it's going to be exhausting. That's why this shadow work is so important this month, you know? And it's just like taking the time to make sure that, kunski, all right, is the Japanese term when a vase or a pot breaks, a porcelain pot or ceramic, I'm not sure, maybe both. The thing is that this thing's broken and they take gold and they fuse it back together with gold, not Gorilla Glue. The Japanese got it right, man. We use Gorilla Glue. That stuff's gross. That's nasty. But, the thought is when we're putting it back together with gold, it becomes more valuable now that it's been broken and re-put together than it was as it was beforehand. Okay, so that's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of these ebbs and flows. That's the beauty of astrology, is that showing you like, look, we've all been broken. We've all been hammered on. We've all had our hearts broken. We've all lost the jobs. We've all, been so gung ho to go down a path, and then it lead to a dead end valley cliff that's barbed wired and thorn bushes, and it's just like, I thought this was the path of my destiny. And it was. That was part of the destiny, and it's now like we have to find a new path. So we've all had these moments where we've broken, or pieces of ourselves are incomplete. Okay, well, if we're doing the shadow work this month, we're gluing ourselves back together with gold, baby. How cool is this? All right, so that's the new moon on the 16th. And then you get the sun in Scorpio, the Scorpio sun conjunct the moon, or sun conjunct Mercury there on the 25th. Then everything moves back into Libra on the 27th. Then on the 31st, this is our first Halloween full moon in a long time. I don't have a date in front of me exactly, but it's continuing the shadow work. Okay, sun over here in the sign of, for you, over here in the sign of Scorpio, first house, this full moon conjunct Uranus. Okay, and this is the most powerful moon conjunction of the year because it is a full moon. I mean, this moon hits Uranus every single month, and we talk about it every month, and there's emotional release, emotional breakthroughs. Okay, this one is being amplified. And where is the light shining from? The light is shining from here, your 7th house of partnerships, other people, the shadow work. We have to be willing to do the shadow work and looking at how other people have affected our lives, okay? How other people have affected our lives for the better how other people have affected our lives that was something that was negative, that turned around and made us go in a path that we needed to be on. All right. So sometimes that person that broke up with you, that broke your heart, and then, months or years later, you met somebody else that was like, wow, I never had this with that other person, So it's like there's this great release and amplification of empowerment, and the rebellious Eureka planet of Uranus here that's going to conjunct the moon. Okay. It's such a powerful connection. And again, I can't say it enough, we must be willing to surrender. We must be willing to do the shadow work. All right? Nothing is happening fast, yet nothing is happening slow. So all is well, as long as I stay in my lane and surrender to the flow. All right? Powerful month, my friends. I can't say it enough. I feel like I'm overusing the word powerful, but I can't overuse that word. Okay? This is the epitome of manifestation. The epitome of manifestation. What do you truly want? Stop thinking about what you don't want. That's the law of attraction. The more you think about what you don't want, you are still getting what you don't want. Oh, I'm getting more bills. Then more bills come in. We have to shift into what we do want, where we do want to be, where we do want to end up. North Node, following our path, seeking our own truth. All right? And if you want a reading from me during this amazing time, feel free to reach out. My email's always listed here below. So, my Taurus friends, have a beautiful, transformative month. Have fun playing in the shadows and shining your light so bright. We will see you tomorrow.